Leitner puts it up.
You're listening to the Culture State Podcast.
Get ready. Woo!
Oh, here we are once again. Welcome to the Culture State Podcast. If you're listening, thank you. Hey, if you're watching, don't watch me, watch TV. Oh, wait. I'm sorry, I forgot.
Same thing.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
We're on WRL Sports Plus. If you're watching there, so thank you so much for watching. Or we're on YouTube. If you're watching there, thank you so much for watching there as well. I am Chris Lee. That is my man, Dennis Jamel Cox.
I don't know if you noticed, Chris, I got a nice little different setup here going on.
Yeah, we're doing a little bit, some stuff that's different today in this episode. Like I usually am at home with my mic and everything. I forgot my mic, so I'm using my headphones. You've got a new setup at home. I do. This is our first in-person interview we've ever done for the Culture State Podcast. Yeah. So it's a lot of new things happening today for the show. Yeah,
a lot of firsts going on. It's kind of weird. It's crazy to think that we just had, or I think we're at 70 episodes now. We just had our 69th recently. Very nice.
How did we miss that? We should have done something special for 69. We seriously missed 69. What kind of bros are we?
Clearly not. That's clearly not, Chris.
We dropped the ball. That was a missed opportunity, as Ron Rivera would say.
Yeah, missed opportunity. It's all right, but it's fine. But here's the thing: we're 70 episodes in. Here's the thing: we started going from just audio, you and I recording in completely different locations. Granted, we are doing that right now, but just audio, trying to record in different locations. Yep. To, well, you know what? Let's do video and start throwing it on YouTube. Now we do radio, television. We're on YouTube. We're the whole thing now. It's like our own reality show.
Yeah, people can watch us, grow. We're on the come up. Speaking of reality shows, today's guest, Mr. Matt James. If you follow him on social media, Matt James 919. If you watched The Bachelor, you would have seen he was the first African American Bachelor on the show to actually be the host and have the women kind of compete for him. He's from Raleigh, North Carolina. Went to play football at Wake Forest. Class of 2014 out there. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you, Dennis.
Talk to me.
I've never watched The Bachelor or Bachelorette. I've never watched one episode of any season ever for either show. So I think that's going to be very apparent when you listen to this episode, because we legit don't discuss The Bachelor at all with Matt James. We're talking about sports because that's what we know.
We're talking sports with them. Man, I think I may have seen a combined 20 minutes of The Bachelor or Bachelorette. That's it. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I still don't get it. The thing I don't get, granted, here's the thing. All right. With reality TV, it's people give us crap for being wrestling fans. That stuff is more scripted than pro wrestling. I can tell you that right now. Right now, that's just more scripted than pro wrestling. Y'all want to give me crap, give Chris crap for liking wrestling? Get out of here. Because you want to watch that stuff. You want to give us crap. Wrestling's not real. Well, neither is The Bachelor. Neither is.
A real relationship came out of it,
That's true. That's true.
He's got a real relationship that came out of it. But yes, there's a lot of reality shows that have very much so scripted components to it. You don't like reality TV. I've never watched The Bachelor, but I do like reality TV. I do have a list of reality TV shows that I watch with my wife. Like, this is our bonding time. Is reality television. So we like to watch The Circle. That is on Netflix. You can watch that on Netflix.
Okay.
You look a little confused. It's kind of like a social media game where they're inside of a place called The Circle, and the only way that these people are interacting with each other is through a social media basically platform called The Circle just for those people. And you could be a catfish, you could be a real person, but however you rise to the top, you have to learn how to influence people through your profile. And it gets very interesting with it, because you have catfish on there, you have people who are real people. It's very interesting. This year they have the Spice Girls on there. People don't know that the Spice Girls in there. It's cool. You got to watch that.
Sounds like online dating meets Twitter.
Kinda. It's not really a dating platform.
I know. We talk about catfishes and stuff like that. That's just what it is.
But on social media, you're probably interacting a lot of the times when people tell us, "Hey, Dennis, you suck. Chris Lee, you suck." When they do that on Twitter, and you don't see a real picture, those are catfish behind there, because those are people that probably walk by us every day and would never say that to our face. So, you said what?
So I probably saw him at a Canes game.
Probably, and they probably dapped you up too. I also like to watch Too Hot to Handle, X on the Beach, Temptation Island. So many of these. I like. Me and my wife love the dating shows. It's great. Help, I'm in a secret relationship. We like to watch Catfish, the TV show. There's so many of these. I don't know why me and my wife bond over these, but I think it's cool to watch these people in their horrible relationships, and we're like, we're so great, aren't we, babe?
So you watch it out of self-assurance, is what you're trying to tell me. That's why you watch these things.
But it makes us feel bad. I don't think we're watching it for the self-assurance, but we get the self-assurance when we watch it.
Exactly. Exactly my point.
I think we just like other people's drama. I think that's really just what it is.
Like, we don't have to have our own. We're just gonna watch yours. Oh God. Okay.
I think you and your girlfriend probably should add a couple of those to your repertoire. Just watch them together and see, like, why would they ever do that in a relationship? See, we're not like that, babe, and it bonds you. You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying, but she will not watch that. I guess, would you? Okay, I know it's a contest, but would you count something? My girlfriend loves watching Top Chef. Now, would that count? Would that be considered a reality TV, even though it's like a competition, but there is like the behind the scenes element to it? Like, would that be considered reality TV, or is that just a competition show? Because it is episodic over the course of a season. So I don't know. Because Survivor is technically a reality show, I guess, right?
I would consider that a reality show.
Yeah, but even though there's a contest component with it too. So she loves Top Chef, which is great because I actually enjoy watching some food shows.
Food.
You seen this body?
Get out of here.
I love food. Okay, I may not have the wide range of food in terms of like diversity of foods. I'm trying new things. I've tried some different things with my girlfriend because she's got a wide palate. Whereas me, not so much. I grew up slightly sheltered when it came to food. It was what mama made on the table.
Jelly, ill. Smoothies, ill. Who needs them? That's Dennis Cox right there.
Well, yeah. Who needs them? I don't.
My wife made me a banging smoothie over the weekend too, and it was great.
Oh, that's cool.
You're missing out.
That's cute.
While we were watching our reality show. I think we were watching the circle.
Smoothies for each other, but we do. We're cool. Is that what y'all are doing?
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Because it's fun, man. It's fun. We make smoothies while we're watching our reality shows for each other. You should try it. I think there's a few of those shows that you and your girlfriend would end up like if you really gave it a chance.
All right. I'll run it by her. I don't think it'll fly, but I'll run it by her. She'll listen.
We gave up on the shows like Basketball Wives or Real Housewives of whatever city. My wife watches that on her own. I don't watch those. We do watch Married at First Sight. Shout outs to my guy Keith Manley. He was on Married at First Sight Charlotte. He was on that season. I actually grew up with him. Him and my mom, his mom and my mom are best friends.
Okay.
And he's kind of a reality star. If we want another reality star, we can get that interview too, because we can do that. But it was me and my wife like to watch those and say like, oh man, she's crazy. Oh man, he's crazy. Why would you ever do that in a relationship? Mm-hmm. You should watch that. It's really great. It's great.
Okay. All right. I probably
the harmony that will enter your relationship after watching a full season of these people doing dumb things in their relationship is unmatched. And that's for everybody out there. Want to bring harmony to your relationship? Watch bad relationships on television.
Okay. All right. Just watch other people's trains wreck. Gotcha.
Yes.
It's interesting. I once we did several shows over a course of a couple different periods of time. I was in a play locally called Tony and Tina's Wedding. And the whole concept of the show, I played the best man. It's interactive for the audience. Your tickets, you're basically a member of like you're invited guest basically when you buy a ticket. So you're at the reception, you're in the ceremony, the whole deal. So there's food, everything. It's a full-on wedding, is what the show is. But obviously the cast, like the bridal party and all that stuff, we're all obviously actors and such. The ex-boyfriend shows up and like there's family drama between the two families, just all kinds of weird, like the preacher gets drunk. It's just things like that, like everything ramped up to an 11. It's amazing.
The preacher's throwing it back. Well, look, that concept, the interactive play, sounds very much so like pro wrestling, which we also found out that Matt James is a fan of, and he also gave me a great compliment that came out of that. You'll see that and you'll hear that in our interview with Matt James from The Bachelor next on the Culture State Podcast. All right, so we're right here outside of PNC Arena. This is a different way to do Culture State. Right now we're standing, you might recognize this guy. You may have seen him on television. Or if you're just paying attention to the sports part of it, maybe you saw him on the field catching balls right there at Wake Forest or at Sanderson High School. Matt James, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. It's nice to be back home.
All right, so you're here to check out the Canes. We'll talk about the Canes in just a minute, but I want to mostly talk about sports in North Carolina because you are an important figure in sports in North Carolina. You were at Wake Forest right before Dave Clawson kind of took over. I want to know about like Wake Forest and where you see them going, and do you think they're getting a little bit of disrespect right now with everybody thinking that NC State is just going to take everything over in the Atlantic?
Yeah, last year the disrespect was crazy. NC State, Carolina really ruined our season. We were supposed to be going into that NC State game undefeated, and if we went into that NC State game undefeated, we would have had College Game Day. It would have been a whole thing. Then we would have beat NC State. We would have been undefeated going into the last half of the season. The hype would have been crazy. We would have been ranked top 4. Then we would have gotten the college playoffs. So a lot of what happened at the Carolina game, affected the outcome of our season. We should have been in the playoffs is what I'm saying.
Okay. He said it would have been a playoff.
I said, well, Carter Finley's literally right there. So if you got any grudges, you can take it out on NC State too. I know you're talking about NC State fans. But I want to know is, what is it about Wake Forest? Like, what was the decision to go to Wake Forest? What was it about Winston-Salem that drove you to there?
By the way, he says that Winston-Salem is just a pit stop to Asheville. So, like, he has a little beef against Winston-Salem, but I'll just let you know.
Listen, being a Demon Deacon, being a Wake Forest alum, we're used to the disrespect. We get a lot of slander on our name, and that's okay. You saw what our basketball program did. If we would have beat BC, we would have punched that ticket to the dance. So there's a lot of hurdles that this next year we're going to overcome. And Wake Forest was a simple choice for me. It was the best academic opportunity for me. It was close to the family, so my parents could come to the game, and it was a chance to beat up on all these ACC schools. So it all made sense. They were coming off an ACC championship with Jim Grobe, Aaron Curry, a bunch of legends, and we were on the doorstep last year.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickens, what the hell was that? Fake sliding. They changed the rules. Yeah. You can't do that. And you see what teams have to do to get the upper hand on us. They got to bend the rules.
You were there for Kendall Hinton's first season. All right, we talked to Kendall Hinton before on our show, and he had that amazing year where he was just kind of asked to be the quarterback at the last moment up in Denver because of all this crazy stuff that happened with him. What did you see out of him and his leadership capabilities that one year you were playing with him?
I think that it's the personification of what a Demon Deacon is. It's a versatile, agile, multifaceted, well-rounded person, and that's what Clawson saw in him, and that's what he recruited. He's an athlete. He's coming from Durham. There's a lot of athletes that come out of Durham, and I think that Clawson was the first to see that, and he hasn't missed yet. He's been on fire with these quarterback recruits. You're seeing that through Hartman. We got another year with them, and I think that we haven't seen the last of Kendall with the Broncos, especially having a Wisconsin quarterback, Russell Wilson, the Wisconsin Badger, Russell Wilson.
throwing the shots right there across from Carter Finley. I love it.
All right, I respect it. So you mentioned Kendall being a great athlete coming from Durham. What is it about the state of North Carolina and what makes athletes coming out of this state so special?
I think I think it all starts with the universities that we have here. We've got Duke, NC State, Carolina, ECU. Yeah. We've got a rich history of HBCUs. We've got UNCW. We have everything covered. So a lot of guys don't have to leave the state. Like, hopefully, as you know, teams and schools like Wake Forest continue to show that they're a force in the state, we can win those recruiting battles with, you know, the Clemsons of the world in the ACC. Hey, keep it down. The Clemsons of the world, the ACC schools trying to pull this talent out of our state, and we're going to lock more of that down, more of the Kendall Hintons, more of the Sam Hartmans, and we're going to be back in the ACC championship.
I want to ask you about the professional teams. Of course, you're here to take in the Canes game. This is before we're taping this right here, game 1 against the Rangers. We also have NC Courage. They're doing their thing on the soccer end. Of course, Carolina Panthers, the Charlotte Hornets and everything like that. Are you fans of those teams, 1? And 2, where have you seen, how have you seen those teams kind of take a step up since you were here as a kid, you know, growing up in North Carolina?
Oh, you got to root for the home teams. And it's been nice to see the Canes return to a place that I honestly hadn't seen since I was in elementary school, when we had the Ron Francises, the Rod Brendamores, the Eric Stalls. Like, those guys are who I grew up watching, and this new passing of the guard is incredible because people are excited about hockey, and there's nothing like playoff hockey. That's why I'm so excited to be here. And then the Panthers, I'm hoping that they continue to take big swings. You know, you've got to be competitive in that market. The Saints are down right now. Their division is up for the
We
grabs.
thought that the Buccaneers would be down.
We thought the Bucs were going to be down. You know,
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady's getting old though. So you know, we got. I think we got Matt Corral, right? We got Matt Corral. We got Corral. So
we'll see.
Yeah, we got to take big swings. The Hornets, they took a big swing with the Melo and LaMelo. I love him. He's a generational talent, and the same with the Courage. You know, I've had friends that played in the ACC who ended up playing with the Courage, so it's nice to see some of that hometown talent staying in the state. It's a good time to be in North Carolina right now.
Absolutely.
Just the sports culture as a whole in this state, what makes it so fun?
I think the rivalry aspect of it, and it starts with the college sports, whether it's college football, college basketball. Someone in your family has a degree separation between NC State and Carolina. Absolutely. Or Duke and Wake Forest, or ECU and, you know, UNCW. Like, there's so many great institutions in this state that there's bragging rights and there's pride on the line. Right. And people take it personal in North Carolina. And so much goes into this tailgating, and it becomes a culture. So you want to see your team do well. And as your fans of those players graduate onto the professional level, hopefully that fandom carries on, so that we've got these diehard Panthers fans and these diehard Hornets fans that we haven't had of lately, but you know, we're rebuilding that with how well they've been playing.
Question for you: since you grew up here, were you ever a wrestling fan? Like, pro wrestling is also big in this area. Were you a Hardy Boys friends doing all the little dancing there? Did you ever do that as a kid?
I love wrestling. I think my mom could attest to that with my brother and I, you know, suplexing each other through the house and breaking a bunch of furniture. I remember there was a time where she had just bought these bless you, she had just bought these drapes to cover the glass downstairs. They're like these I don't know what they're called. Yeah, the trifold, you fold them out like that. Yeah. Just got them. She was so proud of them, and I kid you not, my brother DDT'd me through these bamboo that broke them the day they got them. And so wrestling was out of the house for a while, but we went, Rachel and I, my girlfriend, we went to SummerSlam last year. We went to WrestleMania the year before that. Like, I'm a diehard wrestling fan, and I was just on Dancing with the Stars, and The Miz was there, so I'm constantly talking shop with these guys, and those are freak athletes right there. Like, they put themselves through the ringer, and there's nothing more I love than watching them compete. So
you heard that he said I'm a freak athlete. I used to be a pro wrestler on an independent level.
Oh yeah.
I have a couple friends in WWE right now. I just stopped it for television.
Did you do any of the? There's a developmental program in Orlando.
So no, I wasn't signed. I didn't get signed. I didn't get signed to anything.
Okay.
But I don't know if you watched No Way Jose. He trained with me. He was in WWE for a little bit. Then if you watch NXT right now, Cameron Grimes was my trainer.
Yeah.
He's the guy who trained me down in Burlington. So
tell him to put some respect on your name. There's a professional wrestler in your midst.
Okay. Put some respect on my name.
Okay. Let's get things right here real fast. You are a former pro wrestler, so you can say a former freak athlete. Yes. So let's go and make sure we put that out there. Former freak athlete.
I used to have a better. midsection.
You and me both.
now.
You and me both now. You and me both.
Can.
All right. So my question for you, athletically, you obviously played football and everything, but now marathon running. How hard is that training, and how different is it from people who play football? How different is that training?
So as your slow twitch muscles slowly deteriorate as you get older, I try to find ways to push myself and be competitive. And running's one of those things. It's the only thing that, you know, has gotten me to the point of fatigue where I'm like, I feel like I'm back in, you know, summer workouts, or I feel like I'm back in competition. So, and there's definitive times, like it's you're accountable for your time and for your training, and I like that. And you could do it anywhere. Anybody can run. You could do it with anybody. It promotes wellness, and it keeps me sharp and in shape so I can eat char grill every night. So I love the running because it allows me to do the things I love, which is eat and spend time with my friends.
While you're in North Carolina, you can have cookout and Bojangles and all that good stuff while you're here. This is my final question for you. You are back here in the area, and I know that by the time people hear this to see this, maybe you'll be back out. But what are some of the things that you're looking forward to bringing to North Carolina, some of the programs or some of the things you want to do to give back to the community, and then some of the things that you want to do to expand your career past from where we've seen you and to use the I guess, platform you have for yourself to do great for others?
So my former high school basketball coach is LaVelle Moton, and he's the head coach at NC Central now, the men's HBCU down in Durham. And promoting that athletic program, promoting that education, getting more eyeballs on that so that they get the same type of respect and funding that, you know, a lot of these public institutions get. So just drawing attention to things that, you know, I'm passionate about, and spending time in the community. We started a nonprofit in New York, and I don't want to forget where I came from. So, you know, I'm going back to Sanderson tomorrow to talk about things that I've been through in my past and where I'm looking to go, and just provide encouragement for those seniors and freshmen, and then just spend time with my friends and family.
You got anything?
Yeah. Where can people look up your nonprofit? How can people get in touch with you regarding to maybe helping out?
Oh, for sure. Thank you. Yeah. Just my social handle, MattJames919 on Twitter, Instagram, abcfoodtours.org. Check us out if you want to volunteer. There's a link to do that. Get involved. And if it's not with my organization, find something in your community to hang your hat on, and you're going to feel better about yourself.
I love the fact that you kept 919 in the handle. So, Matt James, make sure you follow him everywhere. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Mr. Professional.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, we want to thank Mr. Matt James for joining us. I have a confession to make, Dennis.
Talk to me.
I'm going to make this confession right here. Maybe Matt is listening. Maybe his guy, Hampton Story, shout outs to him, who helped set this up, is listening. But when I was setting up this interview, right, I was talking to his guy, Hampton Story. He's from Raleigh as well. I think he said he went to Ravenscroft. Then he ended up going to Wake Forest with Matt James. And he was just like, yeah, this is what's going to happen. This is the time, blah, 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 blah. And every time we talked about Matt, we said, Matt. Then later he was like, I'm going to put you in a chat group with MJ so you guys can get everything squared away. And I was like, is MJ just a different person and you just call him MJ? I didn't say this to him. Is MJ a different person and you just call him MJ because, you know, you don't want to get him confused with Matt James or whatever? Okay, whatever. So I'm talking to MJ the whole time, thinking it's somebody else. Whole time I was talking to Matt. And it was just like when he walks up and it was just him, his girlfriend, and his mom, it was like I put two and two together. I was like, oh, MJ is Matt James. I felt very, very slow.
Oh.
Very slow. Very slow.
Well, yeah. I mean, I can see. All right. I mean, but I get it, though. I get it because, you know, you're going through a third party or you know, a third person to talk to somebody, or at least getting things set up with an individual. And when they pass you on to another person, you generally don't think they're like giving you their direct number or anything like that. So I get it. I totally get where you're coming from. I've been in that situation before. Like, oh, this is actually your number. Oh, okay.
And to my defense, right? A lot of times, a lot of guests on the show, that's how it happens. It's you talk to a party, they pass you off to another party that's more directly. So let's say you have a national publicist that will pass you off then to a personal, let's say, publicist or manager or somebody like that, who then represents the person. That's what I thought was happening, and I thought maybe he had somebody going around with him. No, it was just him. It was just Matt James. So, sounds good. But I got to know a little bit more about your play that you were in, that you were telling us before in the intro. Tell us more about your part, how you got ready for this, and like what was the drama, like without giving spoilers.
Okay, I'll try and keep it short because I know we're a little condensed on time. So the show's called Tony and Tina's Wedding. I played Barry, who is the best man.
You look like a Barry.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Like a Barry.
Big fan of the Flash, whose name is Barry. So the thing about the play is that a lot of it's heavily improvised, and as someone who's been doing improv since now almost 7 years, when I started doing it, or actually it's been 7 years since I started taking improv classes, there are different beats that come throughout the entire play, I guess you can say. It is a 3-act play. Like the first act is the ceremony, the second act is the dinner, the third act is like the party after. Even though the party after takes place in the same space, it's basically a 3-act setup. But they're just different beats to the play. But there's a lot of improvisation in between getting from one beat to the next. But the dance floor, for the most part, is outside of the ceremony. The dance floor is actually the central part of the play. Not to give too much away, but my character, best friends with the groom, known to have had like a bit of a shady side business. I'll put it at that. Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Basically, that's what he does. But he definitely is the life of the party and likes to have a good time.
Life of the party. I got the whammies out back.
Basically, if I would just go around asking people if they want to get weird. That's really all I would just say. So anyway, that's like a whole bit. It's like, you want to get weird? And some people would say yes. But obviously we're like, oh man, I got nothing. So anyway, that's just kind of the way to like play that off. But the whole point is like just being the life of the party and being fun. And then I'm actually the ex-boyfriend of the bride shows up, who's just out of rehab. But I keep slipping them stuff, and then things just get really wild from there. So yeah, all again, like anything you can imagine being an absolute train wreck with a wedding, all the family drama, all the weird stuff. That's what it was. So the fun part is actually interacting with the people, interacting with the guests, because you're going to different tables and stuff, or you're chatting with them, hanging out with them on the dance floor, whatever it is. As long as I hit my beats, timing, it's almost like a wrestling match. Like you compare it to wrestling. Okay, we know at these times we're hitting these spots, right? Well, what are you doing in between to get there? And everything has to make sense, right? So everything has to build on top of it. So that's basically what the progression of the play is. It's a fun time.
That sounds just like a wrestling match. I was going to say that.
Honestly, it really is. It really is, because you know what your finish is, but you know where you're starting, the beats, all that kind of stuff, when to ramp it up. That's the thing as well. You got to ramp up the weird and the craziness as the night goes along. You can't just come out and just be bang right off the top, because it's just going to sizzle after that. You got to, again, ramp things up. So that's what I did. That. It was right in Cary. We did 6 shows, and then several months later, we did it right here, actually not far from where I currently live, off of Glenwood. So that's what it was. It was a great time. I want to do it again. COVID really put a halt on a lot of things, but I would do it again in a heartbeat.
We should do a 2-man Culture State show.
Let's do it.
While we go figure that out, you guys go give us 5 stars on Apple, because we deserve those 5 stars, and you deserve a hug, because if you give us 5 stars, you get a hug in exchange if you see in person while supplies last. And guess what? I always have a supply. So come give me a hug after COVID's over. Thank you guys so much for listening or watching. We will be back next week with another great episode. And shout outs to MJ, Matt James, for hanging out with us for a little bit. And shout outs to his mom and his lovely girlfriend. And shout outs to Hampton Story for helping us get this put together. This has been Culture State, baby. We out.
The Culture State Podcast, part of the Capital Broadcasting Podcast Network, with new shows coming out every Wednesday. Download and subscribe from wherever you get your podcasts, including the WREL Sports Fan app.